Across the Lifespan by Riley Fisher.
America is the heart of modern civilization, this story will surely change your mind. There, a trade in unwanted children exists, and the way they do it is distressing. It's known as rehoming, and when parents decide they no longer want their adopted child, they simply advertise them on websites to lure prospective new parents. It's as straightforward as getting rid of an old fridge on eBay. There's no vetting or court orders required, and these disposable children can be handed over to anyone. In fact, until you see it, it's difficult to believe, and we should warn you, it's quite confronting.
First up, we have Alicia. Alicia is a very special and very sweet young lady who is looking for her forever family. She describes herself.
It's a parade like no other. Abandoned children desperately selling themselves to win over a new family, a new start.
She also likes drawing and doing arts and crafts.
And in the audience, sizing them up to find a perfect match, are their potential parents.
Okay, Michaela, you look so cute.
Travelling to this so-called matching event today is Tom, a teacher with no children, who is interested in 14-year-old Frank, given up by his adopted family 2 years ago and now living in a care home.
Today is important because I get a chance to kind of be a part of something, a part of a family that I've been waiting to be a part of for a very long time now.
If something happens, then we'll pursue it, and if not, not a big deal. Nothing gained, nothing lost.
But Frank is anxious to make something happen. He has much to lose and only 2 hours to convince Tom he's worthy of adoption.
Trying to show him the brightest aspects of me and to let him know what the darkest ones are.
Frank has sold himself well. Tom agrees to give his new son a trial run and will collect him in 15 days' time.
Thank you, do the same.
But 6 months later, Tom decides they're not compatible. And again, Frank can only hope and wait to find a family who wants him forever. To see those children trying to sell themselves to find a forever family, what does that do to your stomach?
Oh, it turns it. It is appalling that we get to a place as unseemly as this. Appalling.
How do I stop? So the video that you just watched there, that is a clip from 60 Minutes. And after I had watched this video, I was completely and utterly appalled. Rehoming and the lifelong effects. This heartbreaking story of rehoming is a sad reality for many unwanted children across the globe. Children are desperately parading in front of prospective parents and being sold at a live auction. These children have no one to depend on and are products of childhood neglect. Today, we will explore the lifelong effects of neglect and the psychological impact it has on the entire lifespan, mentally and physically. Neglect within childhood has been shown to have multiple different health precursors and can cause a lot of different psychological disorders as well as physical disorders. Our brains from birth to death, from contraception to when we die, we have a very limited set of skills when we are first born, causing us to depend on our caretakers completely. This could be a mother, a father, a grandparent, whoever is raising you from a young age. Caretakers, as well as your home life and your environment growing up, are key factors to provide a child with adequate attention and support. Childhood is the foundation of your entire life, mentally and physically. So what are the most important things in childhood development? looking at your life and looking at other people's lives. Close your eyes. I want everyone in the room to close your eyes and picture a child in your mind. If you could do anything to help that child, what would be the most important thing? And keep your eyes closed and just keep thinking, what would be the most important thing for that child to grow up into a safe and healthy mindset? So you might be thinking, give them a trust fund or a good education, or the means to have a good relationship with their parents. But the answer is environment. Deciding where in the world this child is going to grow up is the most important thing in a child's life. The location, the housing, the support system, their neighborhood, and schooling, these are all essential to improving the well-being of children. This can be seen when these children do go through these rehoming programs. They're more likely to experience adverse effects on their mental health and well-being. So the three types of environment that we'll be looking into today are the need is home, school, and leisure. The home should be an environment where the child is a main priority, where a child can give love and receive love, a safe place for them to go to when the day is done. A good school environment is one that's welcoming and a safe place to go to, not somewhere where they're not looking forward to going because it's dangerous. And leisure is anything outside of school and outside of home that can be enjoyed, whether this is a sport, a club, activities with friends, different things that a child can enjoy outside of being at their home environment or their school environment. Typically within childhood, at least one of these three areas experience issues, and that's completely normal. Thinking about your own childhood or childhood of your friends, you can probably think about an area where one of those areas were experiencing dysfunction. But when all three areas of your environments, that's when there's a cause for concern. Neglect within child's home life causes a plethora of mental health issues and relationship issues for their entirety of their life. Children living in orphanages, in or out of foster home, will struggle with this indefinitely and with relationships for the rest of their lives. Childhood maltreatment has been linked to a higher risk for a wide range of different health problems. Physically, it has been seen with a link of diabetes, lung disease, malnutrition, vision problems, functional limitations, heart attacks, arthritis, back problems, high blood pressure. These physical health consequences have all been seen and linked with children who have been neglected. The importance of care. This is a huge essential part of any child's life, as this is like the foundation for the entirety of your life. Home life is an essential part of raising a child. When children are born into a family that aren't fit to raise a child's life will permanently suffer. Children who are raised in orphanages and foster care are 70% more likely to be incarcerated as adults. Without a strong support system and constant stress from environmental factors growing up, a human's brain does not develop typically. A really good example I heard of this, a really good analogy, is when you grow up and you feel like your house is on fire, you feel like the whole world's on fire. When you don't have that safe place to come home to, it's really hard to feel like the rest of the world is welcoming you. So, childhood neglect correlates to the impaired adult caretaker's inability to form close relationships. Childhood maltreatment is a precursor to many disorders such as eating disorders, depression, anxiety, bipolar, and other personality disorders. These are some disorders that can be seen mentally, aside from the physical ones. Neglect during childhood causes immense stress to a growing mind. Children experiencing neglect often experience trouble with memory, concentration, and as they try to cope, it can cloud these abilities. So how does this relate to our class? Childhood neglect reinforces the topic of Jean Piaget's theory of the two processes of adaptation. When a child experiences childhood neglect, it rebuilds neural pathways to rewire the child's brain for survival to cope with the anxiety of its surroundings. This applies to Jean Piaget's theory because children are accommodating to their surroundings in response to dealing with neglect at a young age. So why does childhood neglect matter? Childhood neglect and looking into causes and effects on a person's psychological effects is important to understand because we are the next generation to bring children into this world. And hopefully I can provide you a basis on how to identify this within yourself if you're a victim of childhood neglect. And how does this affect my life? Gaining a deeper understanding of psychology across a lifetime, specifically on childhood neglect, can affect your life by giving you some depth on why people think and act the way they do. So when you're doing your discussion post, think about what in your childhood could your caretakers have done differently to have a better outcome on your life. Thank you so much, guys, and I hope you appreciated my presentation. Do I end this?